Hi Year 10, it's Mrs. Truman again. In my last video, we addressed this big question, which is how does Shakespeare present the role of gender in the play? What I would like to do in this video is to show how addressing this big question and our plans and our thought which came from that allows us to then answer exam questions. So basically how it filters in to our exam preparation. The exam question we're going to be looking at today is just this one here. And it states, starting with the extract, write about how Shakespeare presents gender in the play. However, we're specifically asked to focus on how Shakespeare presents masculinity in the conversation, which we're going to read shortly, but also how he presents masculinity in the play as a whole. Now, as you can see, I've already completed my planning, but I'm actually going to take you through it now, step by step. Now, whenever we are provided with an extract from the play in the exam, we're also provided with a little bit of context about that. And we're made aware within this instance that the extract we're going to be looking at is from Act 1, Scene 7. And we then answer the question. And it says, at this point in the play, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are in conversation. Macbeth has just informed Lady Macbeth that he does not think that he should kill Duncan. Now that allows us to place the extract within the text as a whole. We should begin to think about, well, what happens before this? What has happened? We know that Macbeth has been in battle. We know that he's met the witches who stated their prophecies. And on the back of that, he wrote a letter to Lady Macbeth. In writing that letter to Lady Macbeth, she had then came up with the plan to kill Duncan, which would ultimately allow her to be queen. Now, up until this point, Macbeth has been in agreement with her. He has been going along with her, let's say, and he hasn't been fully in agreement, he's been going along with her. Now, at this point, he actually has had second thoughts, okay? And that kind of opened where we're at now. And Lady Macbeth states, what's the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Has it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thy own act and valour as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteem the ornament of life, and live as a coward in thy own esteem? Letting I dare not wait upon, I would, like the poor cat in ad. Then Macbeth states, prithee, peace, I dare do all that becomes a man. Who dares do more is none. Now, there's a lot we can say about this extract, okay? However, I'm filtering in what we've already prepared from our big question, okay? So mainly I'm going to be focusing on the extract of Lady Macbeth, because to me, Lady Macbeth within here is actually asserting masculine-like qualities, and asserting our masculine-like qualities is ultimately to manipulate Macbeth and to put his manhood down and to make him feel perhaps slightly inferior to her in order for her to achieve her goals. And we've been talking about the fact of how masculinity is used to achieve one's goals, and I certainly think that it is used by Lady Macbeth in here to achieve her goals. Now, she uses this adjective of drunk, okay? Now, this adjective drunk, it might not even mean appear significant to you, but it certainly is when we look about it within the context, because actually someone that is under the influence of alcohol, someone that may appear drunk, is someone that perhaps is out of control, is somebody that really for her, and certainly who would be displaying these masculine qualities, okay, is that if they were drunk, they may not appear to be as masculine as what they were. And we know that Macbeth as a warrior was extremely masculine. However, she's almost insulting his masculinity here by saying, well, was he drunk before when he made the promises to her? And it's saying that really that if he is drunk, then he's no good to her. He's not going to be able to perform how she wants him to perform and ultimately go through with what she wants him to. But it also is a way of kind of him not behaving appropriately in her eyes. He's not behaving as a man or a husband should. He's going back on his word. All right, so again, she's insulting him. I've also made reference to these repeated questions here. Now, these are rhetorical. And in using these repeated rhetorical questions, she is attempting to manipulate him. All right, she's banging these questions out at him. What she's wanting to only do is to give in to her. I've also mentioned the adjective here of being afeared, implying that he's actually scared to do what she wants him to do. Again, that is putting him down. It is a way of again, manipulating his manhood, but also insulting his manhood. And it implies that because he's actually not able to act in the way that she desires him to, it implies that he's weak. And that was extremely significant for a man of this era, because actually a man of this era who was seen as weak was actually not seen to be any good, and certainly not the role of a husband, and certainly not a role of a husband who is in his role and how kind of he is within that household, but also within the hierarchical structure. And I've also made a reference again to this noun coward, very similar to Afia. She's putting down, she's insulting him. She's implying that he's lacking these masculine